Hello and welcome to week 7 of the Brit Iron Fantasy Show. I'm your host James, and joining me today is Matt and Sam. And today we bring you good news. We won our matchup in Sleeper.
Let's go.
Rare occasion.
A very rare occasion. It's great to see. 2-4 in the season. I believe we're still the team with the most points scored against us as well.
Yeah, so we jump into the standings here. Give you a nice little overview. Yeah, still the most points against us, but starting to look better. Starting to put up some better points. Still in that bottom grouping, that bottom 4, but back to being 1 win away from jumping up to that next tier. Hopefully starting to make a push up, because obviously we're only 4 spots off playoffs. It's top 6, so it's very doable. Still well truly on the cards. To look over this week of games, obviously a nice win for us. Pretty commanding win. Putting up a 144, top score in the league. Then rolling through pretty standard results throughout. I don't think there was too many shock results outside of maybe ours. I think, is that considered a shock result now, us getting a win?
Get in your place,
Probably
Mr. Canlet.
Yeah.
Get in the bin.
Yeah, so pretty interesting week. To jump into the specifics of the matchup, we had Goff and Newton going pretty much point for point. But as we work down Zeke, I mean, I had torn feelings about this one, but, let me down in Dynasty. But it worked out here, so we got the win. Mixon putting up some decent numbers. Hopefully he'll be good to go this weekend. Robinson, not a bad week. Touchdown, I think, saved him there. It's David Johnson getting a touchdown on the board. I know Sam was happy about that in Dynasty as well.
Yeah, so happy. Dynasty went great.
Moving through Odell with what's becoming a typical Odell week. He'll have one big week, he'll have a few bad ones. Yeah. It's just what we're going to have to expect. DeAndre Hopkins, not what you'd expect, that 2 of 8. But still putting up 8 points, so it could have been a lot more. See where that goes throughout the season. Brandon Cooks coming up clutch at the end of that game. A lot of targets, most of them within that fourth quarter. But it's all you need from him. Same Robert Woods, got beaten out by Cook, so Cook's the top receiver in this matchup. Hayden Hurst getting the touchdown, getting those extra yards for us, doing the job. Kenyon Drake finally showed up for the Brit Iron boys. Yeah. How long have I been waiting for this one? How good did this feel waking up in the morning seeing that?
Felt amazing. I won't lie. I think especially after... It's sod's law, isn't it? 2 weeks... 2 consecutive weeks. First James made him his guy, then I made him my guy, and then the week that none of us makes his guy, he comes out and hits 164 yards and 2 tutties.
Oh, wow, mental. We love to see it.
I mean, I was hoping a big week from Chase Edmonds, put him in a Dynasty, and it's the 1 week that Drake shows up. So maybe that's what I need to do for us, is put Edmonds in every week over in Dynasty, and we'll have Drake showing up on all cylinders. But Montgomery, what's starting to be pretty much an average score for him nowadays. He's starting to feel somewhat not reliable as an RB1 or 2, just a good flex option that you should be able to hit potentially double figures with, touchdown upside.
Yep.
Then moving through, Gano, 8 points, can't go wrong with that. Happy with that for bringing him in for this week.
Yeah.
Bucks defense. Oh,
what
a week!
A game for the Bucks defense. It made Aaron Rodgers look like it wasn't Aaron Rodgers on the field. Controlled the game from kind of that after that first drive where Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers. They then said, "Nope, not going to let you do that to us," and they shut him out for the rest of the game. Really great effort from them, and I think everyone in the fantasy world who was starting the Bucks defense was very happy with that outcome.
I believe our exact words were, they're going up against a sort of scorched earth style offense. This could be a rough one. None of us saw this coming. I think, Rodgers went for the little 3-pump celebration, put him in his place for it. But moving through, as we get to the bench, obviously Lev Bell didn't play, just signed with the Chiefs. Have to see what happens this weekend. Savanta Freeman, bit of a quieter week. Would have been a bit disappointed if we'd had him in. Made the right calls there. See, Kelly was on a bye. Hilton, poor week. I think maybe is it time to move? Is this a conversation we're about to have?
Had that touchdown called back, which would have made it a bit more stomachable. But at the end of the day, 5 targets and only 1 reception.
Mate.
I think it's time. The boat has probably sailed on T.Y. Hilton now in terms of if we're picking anyone else up. I'm not sure there's necessarily anyone on the wire that I like.
There's a name floating for me.
Much more.
There is a name, but we'll come to that.
I think we should come to that in a moment.
And then obviously Scotty Miller, maybe settle into what he's going to do. I think he's going to have the odd week where he just becomes Brady's guy, breaks off a couple big plays, gets a touchdown, and everyone thinks, oh, is he going to become relevant? Too risky for me now. I think got to hold off on this one. Maybe one we're looking at more towards next year. This is a dynasty. For me, I'm holding him in this as a redraft. Might be time to move on there as well. So, a decent week, a very solid week. Maybe we can get some consistency going from here on out. But jumping into the trending tab, a lot of moves being made, a lot around the Eagles. Obviously, Miles Sanders being out, Boston Scott's a name that's being thrown about quite heavily. But I think with the other backs we've got, personally not interested. Any interest there for either of you two coming into this
Not
week?
in the running back department. Not in the running back department.
I am seeing a wide receiver, actually, though, that I think we should pick up if we can.
Let's have their name. Who's caught your eye?
So, I am seeing Christian Kirk sitting on that waiver wire, and he is a very talented guy for me. I understand that he splits kind of targets in that Arizona offense with D-Hop. But he is a big play guy, and at this point, I think he's probably a safer bet points week in, week out than Hilton is.
I think
and
he's
a very
on
good matchup as well.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think this is the kind of thing now where we've got to start with our wide receivers just purely playing around matchup, and maybe get a few in that we can feel comfortable rotating, because there's going to be these weeks where Odell just wrong matchup. It's one where you look at it and think Baker's going to have a nightmare here, or the run's going to get stopped. And that's going to limit Odell every single time when Baker's trying to throw it too much. Yeah. So I'm happy picking up Christian Kirk here. So I think, are we all in on that? Happy to pick him up?
Oh, yeah.
Drop out Hilton here?
Definitely.
Play him this week.
Are we putting any fab into this? Are we just going to put it through and see if it comes in? What's your guys' thought on that?
I would say not. Don't waste any fab. I think at this point, how much fab have we got remaining at this point?
We have 17. So not
17.
A lot.
No, I think we definitely want that 17 fab. We need to keep as much of that as possible for going into the playoffs at this point. If an injury happens and we need to spend what we've got left, we've spent a lot at this point. So I would really urge to kind of hold on to as much of that until the playoffs as possible.
Now, there's one name I do want to bring up. I don't know if this is going to overlap with you, James. So if it is the same, I'll let you pitch the reasons. But Adam Humphries instead of Scotty Miller is something I'm watching at the moment. I think it's much more reliable upside. Any other names for you though, James? Before we get onto that one, because obviously this might be the one last spot for the week.
That was the same name, but the schedule that he's going up against is quite tough as well, which is worth taking into consideration. Pittsburgh, Chicago, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Indianapolis again. A lot of tough matchups there, but I still think it's worth picking him up because the targets are there, the receptions are there, there's a few touchdowns in there. I think it's definitely worth taking.
I think especially if Jonnu Smith misses a little bit of time as well.
Yeah.
Might be 1 week, might be more, we don't know. And I think it's just over Scotty Miller. Humphries is the safer option. He might not have the same upside some weeks, but I mean, looking at the high scores on the season, it's actually quite similar. So, I think, again, no fab in this, just a move we're hoping to get done. Nice and easy. I think anything else we're looking to do on the waiver wire for this week, or is that us pretty much happy?
I would say no at this point. I think I'm pretty happy with the way our roster's looking at the moment.
Yeah, I'm
lovely.
The same as well.
So, moving into our lineup for this week, obviously Jared Goff currently sitting as the starter, only quarterback on the roster. Potentially tough matchup against those Bears. But I think anything we want to stream, or are we just going to roll with it, keep Goff in, keep it moving kind of deal?
Keep Goff in, I'd say.
Yeah,
lovely. I'm on board there. Now, as we get to running back, luckily we've got depth. Mixon, questionable, something for us to keep an eye on. I think if he plays, we start him.
Yeah,
but he's something we're watching throughout the week. So I think maybe the main thing is, outside of that, between James Robinson, Kenyon Drake, David Montgomery, any of these guys you guys are looking to drop to the bench for the options we've got sat there in Lev Bell, Devonta Freeman, or Joshua Kelly?
No. From my opinion, I think we roll with all of those guys, assuming that they all look like they're going to start. And on the off chance that obviously Joe Mixon doesn't play, I know that he didn't practice or isn't practicing today. Now, I wouldn't read into that too much, just because it's only a Thursday practice. It's not unusual for running backs to not practice all week, but they just play because it's a bruising position. But in the event that he doesn't play, I would then suggest that we play Freeman, just because I think they've got a favourable matchup against the Eagles. I know that the Eagles' defence hasn't been terrible, but it is favourable, and we don't really know what Lev Bell is going to do, and we don't really know if Kelly is going to be a consistent kind of carry guy there.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I think on Lev Bell, this could be one that next week is a different conversation.
Yeah.
What I'm expecting from the usage here, I think we touched on this a little bit yesterday, when we recorded the Week 7 preview that will have come out on Thursday, just before this. If you're watching this now, go have a look. But Lev Bell probably going to be more of a goal line red zone threat here, which is where Edwards-Helaire struggled. If he gets that role, fantasy value straight away. It's something you're going to have to really look at as a flex option, but it's too uncertain, and it's not in potentially, we see it there for running backs. Denver's one of the second toughest matchups for running backs in fantasy-wise. Just not a good game to start him in. You could come off great, but you could also get burnt just from not knowing the usage. So I think pretty much as far as the running back's concerned, we're keeping it how it is. So moving through to wide receiver, hopefully, as long as our waiver wire picks go through, so it's going to be Odell, Cooks, Adam Humphries, and Christian Kirk as our options. Are we rolling with Beckham and Cooks? Very high upside, but a very potentially low floor to those two if it goes wrong. Do we want to bring in any of these new guys we might be picking up off the waivers?
I would quite like to see Christian Kirk in there. And this again, I think it's happened a few weeks ago where a player we pick up is going to feature again later in the episode, if you know what I mean. So I won't give him too much depth, but I think that matchup against the Seahawks is quite favourable for him.
Who are you looking to replace then for him? Cooks or Beckham? Who's coming out?
This is a tough one. I would probably say Cooks off the bat, because I think this could be another game where Odell Beckham Jr. goes off again. You know, he always has the opportunity to do that in every other game or whatever it is these days. So I think on that basis, I'll go with Cooks.
Sam, what's your take?
I agree. I think Odell Beckham is too talented, and they've got a good matchup against Cincinnati to potentially score a lot of points. So I think you would really risk getting really burnt if you dropped Odell. I think he's still got a relatively high floor this week compared to Brandon Cooks, who his floor is potentially a complete dud, whereas his ceiling is still an absolute blow up. But I don't think Christian Kirk's floor is a complete... I don't think his ceiling's as high, but I don't think his floor is a complete dud. And I think given our matchup this week is a very... I don't want to say winnable matchup, but I think we have got quite a winnable matchup. So I think I'd rather take what I would perceive maybe safer points with Christian Kirk as well.
Yeah, like that. I think completely on board with both of you on that one. One name we didn't think of, if Mixon sits out as a potentially opposed to Freeman, do we look at Roland Cooks? Obviously juggle around the flex. Do we want to stick with the 4 running back, maybe go 3-3? I think that's going to be a game time decision on our part coming into Sunday once we know what we sort of the week has had in store for us and for Joe Mixon. But potential decision we've got there that you might tune in next week and see we've ended up rolling with. So obviously after that, Hayden Hurst, he's our guy at tight end. He's going to be staying in after Odell and Kirk at wide receiver, Hayden Hurst at tight end. Keep the flex spots as they are. Keep rolling with Gano, I think. I'm happy with what I saw. I don't see any need to drop him back out. He's beaten Coulson, who we had before on the season. Why change it? And then Bucks defense, hope we see more of what we saw last week.
Really favourable matchup for the Bucks defense. I think, again, they're a team that's built to kind of stop the run on defense, and you're going up against a team that, I mean, at least in my opinion, is very kind of based around how well they can establish that run. So stop that run, put Derek Carr in some tricky situations, and that's potentially a recipe for some turnovers. Yeah, exactly.
Good times ahead.
As we jump in, here's our matchup up against, no idea what I'm doing, Ralph Sismo, who's 3-3, so must have a little bit more of an idea than us, apparently. Got a better record currently, but it's going to be an interesting matchup. Still making a pick its quarterback by the looks of it. He's got Davis, White, Golladay, Jones, Ebron, Boyd, Ridley, Parkley, and still deciding his defense. Maybe some waiver wire moves coming in there for Ralph, but be interesting to see how he feels out that team, and hopefully we can go and get another win. Get ourselves to 3-4. Be a nice place to be. Get a bit closer to 500.
Yeah, it's coming.
We're coming for those playoffs.
It's coming, yeah. Sam, like you said, it's a slightly easier matchup, I think, this week. I think we can all agree, which probably bites in the end. But yeah, I think we got a good chance this week. So for anyone listening at home, tune in next week to see how we did and see if we have to go back on our words like you said just now. On this. Yeah, again.
That's normal.
Oh, here we go again. But now we have a new segment for this fantasy episode and this fantasy series, in that we're going to be doing a little start-sit listener advice question.
Exciting.
So for those of you listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to us, be sure to head over to Instagram and Twitter and send in your start-sit questions before Tuesday evening, because that's when we do our recordings and stuff like that. So get them in, and there's a chance we'll talk about it on the episode and give you our opinions and our advice on who you should roll with going into that week. So without further ado, Matt, what we got this week?
So it's an interesting one this week. Very wide receiver heavy, but it comes from George Anders on Instagram, sending this one over to us. So
Cheers, George.
he's rolling with Josh Allen as his quarterback. That's a great start on any fantasy team. I think he's in a good spot already. But he's looking at his wide receiver position. He's got 4 guys and 2 spots to fill. He's got Crowder of the Jets going up against the Bills. Golladay of the Lions going up against the Falcons. McLaurin of the Washington football team against the Cowboys. And Juju and Steelers against the Titans. 4 intriguing options. Sam, what should George do?
Right, so the thing that jumps out to me is, first of all, your wide receiver 1 spot out of these 4 guys is not a question to me at all. You are starting Kenny Golladay this week against the Falcons. It's a brilliant matchup. It's a defense that is set to give up a lot of points. You've got a quarterback who's a gunslinger, and that's their number 1 guy. Golladay catches a lot of balls. He'll catch touchdowns. I think he's probably locked and loaded to be at least a wide receiver 2, if not a wide receiver 1 on the week. Now, this is where things get a little bit trickier for me on that second spot. I am still a little bit torn thinking about this, and it's a bit of a swing on my account, but I think I'm going to take Juju. And I'm going to go with the safer option, in my opinion. Juju maybe doesn't have the same kind of upside as the other 2 guys mentioned, but Juju will receive targets. The opportunity will be there for him to at least hit a baseline, and hopefully you'll go absolutely off with Golladay.
Right. So Golladay, 100% agree with. I don't think there's any questions there. 100% agree with what you said. I'm just going to rule Crowder out as well from the start on the Jets. There's quarterback questions there. Going up against a very good Buffalo team.
I think there's questions about every position on the Jets, but
There's football team questions there.
Yeah, precisely. So I think Crowder, for me, I would not be starting this week, and it's very situational in general to be starting Crowder, in my opinion. I see why you're torn between Terry McLaurin and Juju. The thing with Terry McLaurin, or Scorer McLaurin, as he's nicknamed, is that matchup is quite favourable with the Cowboys' defence not being too good against the pass. I think they're like the 10th worst against the pass or something around that range.
Yep.
And McLaurin is a guy who's got it done previously. He's clearly very talented. The thing is, though, there is some questions again there with the quarterback position. With Kyle Allen, or even Alex Smith, who does come in, or even Dwayne Haskins. Who knows at this point? Who's going to start there? Probably not Haskins, granted, but you see my point in that there's question marks. But when I first read this question, McLaurin and Golladay were my 2 options. So I guess, Matt, you have the deciding vote here.
The deciding vote, but who knows, maybe I'll throw a third.
George's fantasy lineup rests on you, Matthew.
It does.
I feel so sorry for George right now, and I apologise for whatever I'm about to do that cost you a week. But Golladay, rolling with him, he's locked and loaded in your team. No questions there. Now, the way you guys have explained it...
If you say Crowder...
No. Crowder's out. Look, I do... Potentially, I would not be shocked if Crowder is the better option, but I just don't like...
He's the number 1 on that team, and he's the only person that's really had any production of any form. So if you're starting anyone from the Jets, it is him.
You're getting a Bills team that want to come back, they want to win. They're 2 rough weeks from. This defense has been exposed at points that people are starting to be like, well, hold on, what's going on? I know there's been a couple of injuries, but you can have a lot of guys that think, no, we want to be looked at as one of the good defenses again. Or I just don't like playing someone from the Jets against a good opponent in a get-right game. That just is a lot of issues for me, so Crowder's out. McLaurin and Juju, it's McLaurin in a great matchup, but there's questions at quarterback. But I think potentially, I don't know. I want to say the ceiling's maybe a little bit higher just because of what we've seen from Claypool getting in the way of Juju and taking away some points.
Yeah.
However, Claypool is not going to do that every single week. He's been on a tear. And I think maybe this is the week where Juju at least gets one of those touchdown receptions back. I'm going to roll Juju and say you should go out there, Golladay and Juju. But it was a tough choice. But I think, got to take Juju here. As much as I love the matchup for McLaurin, I don't think Claypool is as effective this week. So Juju knows how to get it done against better defenses. And gets it done for you in your fantasy matchup. George.
We are so sorry, George.
Yeah, I apologise for what we've just done. You probably should have gone McLaurin and Crowder. So maybe just do the opposite of what we said. Maybe that's what this section becomes.
No.
Having said that, if you do roll with our advice and you get the win, please do let us know, because then we can be really, really arrogant going forward and tell everyone how great we are at fantasy tips.
As long as I didn't see the first half of this episode about this.
Don't go back and watch any of our other episodes.
We don't follow our own advice.
Apart from the one where I call Odell Beckham Jr. being the wide receiver 1 on the coming week, and then he actually went and did it.
It does happen from time to time, but there you go, George.
Up on the scoreboard.
There you go, George. That's our advice. Kenny Golladay, start him, and Juju is the consensus opinion amongst the boys, and there is value there in McLaurin, but Golladay and Juju is our advice to start this week for sure. Now moving it on to the regular segment, being the My Guy part of the episode. I mean, I don't really want to talk about last week, but I guess, Matt, you have to do the thing.
We'll make it quick for James.
Just shame me.
Yeah, we'll move through it quick. Alex Matson, RB42, came last.
It's not good for me.
James is back to -2. Keep it moving. So, at the business end of the leaderboard, out of 3 of us, it's me and Sam. There's 1 point in it. Sam went with Andy Dalton, the QB 22 on the week, and my low-hanging fruit pick of Cam Newton, even though it didn't look like he did a lot. QB 11, that running baseline and rushing touchdown got me the win. Fair. So Sam is now on 2 points. I am within 1 on 1 point, hunting him down.
Okay.
Just need a bad pick from him this week, and it could be tied.
I've got a very, very boom bust pick this week.
Let's hear it. Roll it straight out there then, Sam.
Yeah,
Who is your guy?
So
week
my
7?
guy is. He's not low-hanging fruit, but he's also low-hanging fruit in the sense that if this guy goes off because of the matchup, he's going to go off. And I am taking John Brown of the Buffalo Bills. It's a great matchup. Now, he's not the number 1 receiver on his team, but he's kind of one of these big play, can really break something kind of players. He's got a matchup against the Jets, who are a dumpster fire of a team. They're coming off a couple of losses. This is going to be a real right the ship kind of game. This, I think, could be one of those games that Josh Allen shoots himself back into the MVP conversation, throws 5 or 6 touchdowns, and there is a very real chance that John Brown against this defense just goes absolutely off and kind of has that first game where he capitalizes on being on the other side of the line to Stephon Diggs. So I think he's quite a good guy. Could be the wide receiver 1, could also bust and be the wide receiver 55, but I'm going to take that high upside against the Jets.
I love that pick. I love it. Maybe it's low-hanging fruit just picking someone that's against the Jets. Maybe
that's what I was thinking.
But,
like,
I think I like it. There's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, James, you looked a bit disgusted with Sam going potentially low-hanging fruit. So let's hear your risky pick. I'm expecting someone out there now.
No. Before we go into my pick,
here we go.
I have something to raise, and that is, of course, Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is a quarterback who throws to John Brown. And I just checked out on the UK touchdown, and I found a nice little Josh Allen signed jersey, fully legit, for only £190.
£190? You know what?
Offer.
That is a steal. I might take my commission from work and purchase that.
If he wins MVP, maybe that's going to as well. A little bit of a boost on the value. So you got it in his MVP year. All kinds of smart investments. Investment advice from the Brit Iron.
Yeah, and there's plenty of other similar jerseys as well on that website that could go up in value, like you say, Matt. Or maybe you want one for your man cave. Who knows what you want? But
how much money have we got between us? Maybe we just buy the entire stock and then we resell it in 20 years for like 500% of the value.
It's
I
a brilliant
love the
idea. However, of course, be sure to go check out the uktouchdown.com. A lot of great signed memorabilia on there, all 100% legit, as well as some awesome articles written by Ian, the guy who runs the page.
Nice guy. Go help him out.
Definitely go help him out.
Help pay his mortgage. I'm assuming
Perhaps.
he has a mortgage. But
who knows? However, check him out. Great guys. Great memorabilia. Do it now. But, okay, I guess that might be my way of just like buying time to build up the hype for this pick.
there's
So,
no hype.
after a very disappointing week, a number of disappointing weeks for me, I'm going for a slightly more risky player. And if you've been listening all the way through, you can probably guess who it is by now, in the fact that we just attempted to pick him up on the waiver wire. And that guy is Christian Kirk. Now, wide receiver 42 on the year in half-point PPR. Mentioned it earlier, that matchup against the Seahawks is very, very favourable to him. You know, if D-Hop or Kyler Murray fit the parameters, I would have picked either of those. But unfortunately, they were top ones in their position, so they'll be not allowed. But, you know, the Seahawks are the worst team against defending in the air. They've averaged around 370 passing yards against him per game. And it's interesting, Christian Kirk will be matching up against Shaquille Griffin, who hasn't looked good this season. And I checked out his stat line earlier, and he's allowed 27 completions out of 41 attempts for 382 yards and 4 touchdowns allowed. So it's a complete mismatch, in my opinion. It's very favourable towards him. Yeah, a lot of opportunity. And Christian Kirk, of course, off the back of a big win against the Cowboys. Again, another bad defence where he scored a couple of touchdowns with 86 yards through the air as well. Albeit off of 3 targets, only 2 receptions, but big breakout plays, you know, big breakout guy. So big upside player, and I think he will take advantage against the Seahawks defense.
I like that. I'm here for that pick. You know, if we do get him on the waiver wire, I want to see that happen. Want to see you get out the negative. Want to see us win our week. Could be good all round if Kirk has a nice week. But
or
now...
we just don't play Kirk and watch James lose, and we win our week, and we've just got a much better scenario.
Oh God! Glass half full, Sam. So, moving it on to my low-hanging fruit pick. Sorry, my guy of the week.
Oh.
So,
no.
Yeah, I've done it again. But this is just personally, I can't not, because I think this might be the last week I can pick this guy before he is a running back 1 on the year. And that's Rojo, Ronald Jones.
Have
for
a
the
day
Bucks.
off.
He's currently the RB14, so it's an allowed
Have
pick.
a day off.
100 rushing yards each of the last 3 weeks. If he has one more, first Buck since I think the 80s to go for 4 consecutive weeks. He's on a tear. He has made that his job. Forget my guy. He is the guy in that backfield now. Arians loves to roll with the hot hand, and Jones has certainly got that going.
Everybody
So,
at home listening to this,
I'm going for
please,
the points.
Everybody, please tweet at us, get on Instagram, get in the comments down below. Tell Matt how much of a scumbag he is.
Come on. I mean, we're 2 for 2 with low-hanging fruit, Sab. You had Dak and OBJ, so, you know, I'm just rolling
OBJ was not low-hanging fruit. I correctly predicted his boom week in a field of busts.
Quite the bite.
You've just predicted that a guy that's consistently gone for over 100 yards is potentially going to do it again.
He's barely done it. This is the first time in his career he's actually looked good. So I just want to roll with it. It's a guy, since he came into the league, I've liked. Might be my last chance to pick him. You can say what you want. I'm rolling with it. Rojo's my guy.
Hope this is the week that Keyshawn Vaughn just steals all the carries.
This is...
I'm speechless.
Maybe the reception.
Scumbag.
Speechless at what you've just done there, Matthew. That is
unacceptable.
I can't believe you've just done this. But
I feel
what
great.
Can I say? I mean, Christian Kirk, he's going to go off. I'm telling you, he's going to go off. And
doesn't matter. Rojo will be like the running back 11. But John Brown's going to be the wide receiver
the running
2
back one
on the week.
It could happen. I really hope one of us does it here, Sam. I don't mind if it's me or you at this point, just to beat that pick. That is
allied against me now.
2 weeks in a row, he's gone for the low-hanging fruit. That's not good. That is.
Well, you know, I'm happy with it.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Any given Sunday, so you know anything can happen. But yeah, unless you guys...
slowly becoming your new "we'll wait and see," isn't it? Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
I mean, I mentioned it twice now this week, so we'll have to wait and see if I mention it again. But any given Sunday could happen.
No,
so, mate, you give me the ammo, I'm going to fire it away, mate.
Mate, outro and drops. Let's go. Come on.
But yeah, unless you boys have any other points to raise, unfortunately, that is all we've got time for today. As ever, be sure to head over to YouTube, go like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Please subscribe if you're listening. It really helps us out. Really helps the channel grow.
150.
Push on 150, and who knows where we can go.
What is going on here?
If you're
outrageous.
listening, hit the button below. Really appreciate you guys doing that.
Make sure you whack the bell as well.
Yep.
Yes, notification bell.
Be the first to know when we bring out our content.
Before us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's not even a lie. A lot of the time, I get a notification saying an episode's been released. I'm like, oh, okay, sweet.
It just magically happens for you, doesn't it? Like you sit here, you talk to your microphone, and it's suddenly on YouTube.
Yeah,
how does that happen?
Actually incredible.
Wow. What a time
the
to be alive.
YouTube fairies are amazing.
Meanwhile, I'm chained to my PC. It's just like, when's the edit out?
And of course, be sure to head over to Instagram and Twitter. We are at the Brit Iron. Go get involved in the conversation on those platforms and join the community that we're growing on there. It is great to see you guys. And as we mentioned earlier in the episode, the start sit. Be sure to send those in by Tuesday evening every week to be in with a chance of featuring on the episode and have us give our advice on your fantasy team. But for now, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.